Joining me on Extraplasm podcast for yet another ride around the podcast sun, probably earning more robes than anybody else. Good friend of the show, awesome, great person, toy maker extraordinaire, Tony Taylor of Fantazmic Toys. How are you doing, Tony?
I'm doing great, Jim. I am 100% ready for that robe right now. I'm a little chilly. It's a little cold down in my basement, and I could use something to throw on. And
I was gonna say, you have to be somewhere cold like your basement, because everybody else seems like is in a giant hellhole of heat wave for the last few weeks, where it doesn't matter where you live, but your house is melting. Or you could be in Texas, you could be in Maine. I don't know. It just seems like everyone everywhere is hot. So
we were also hot here in Ohio too. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, you also had a hot visit from someone who was going to be joining us for this podcast, but is not able to be on the podcast due to being on the disabled list or the illness list, because Brendan Pierce of Beducci Studios, your partner in crime from Fantazmic Toys, is actually, I believe, in the building with you, if that's correct.
Correct. He is in the building. He is extremely, extremely jet lagged, and traveling, it kind of took it out of him, and he was going to try and be on here with me, but unfortunately he's having a hard time putting words together, and his brain is a big bowl of mashed potatoes right now from traveling from the other side of the world. And so unfortunately you're stuck with just me. But yes, my partner in crime is currently upstairs resting and getting better till he can finally enjoy and see America for the first time.
Well, one, nobody's stuck with you as just you, because that's like, it's good that you're here. Two, I bring this up because I did get to say hi to Brendan off air, like before we started recording. So even though everybody else on the podcast listenership won't hear Brendan this week, I did get to confirm that he is in fact in your house. And the fun part of that for me is, like, I'm going to say this, like, this is fun. Brendan, when you hear this, like, we're sorry that you're not here. And I'm like, was excited to talk with you and like get well. Like, I know you're not feeling well, but the last time that you both were on together was the first time you had seen each other on a webcam. And then today we're supposed to be on together and you're actually in the same house together, which is just like, I'm like, if you keep coming on the podcast, especially if you try to come together, like you may move in permanently. Like that may be a thing. Like maybe you'll start a sitcom that's like kind of like The Odd Couple, where like he's the Australian one. Yeah, or like that. Yeah, but he'll have weird Australian mannerisms, and like you'll have weird like we were talking before about, you introduced him to the concept of cornhole, and that was entirely new for him. Like that
he introduced me. I am on the podcast this time as a completely different person, because this time I am on the podcast after having eaten Vegemite. And let me tell you, it is definitely an acquired taste. I can't even describe the flavor, because it's a completely new, crazy, something that looks like it leaked out of your car type of spread.
If I look like I'm grinning too hard right now on the webcam feed to you, it's because I might have known that was going to happen to you.
It is definitely an experience.
I said, you should bring Tony some Vegemite. And he was like, oh, I already got some. I was like, okay, good. It's like, he's got to have the experience.
It is, and it is exactly that. It is a life-changing experience.
You are now forever a changed person post Vegemite, but you have all this opportunity, like while he's here, that once he's feeling better, you could take him for enormous American-sized meals. And I think, I think you've agreed already that you're going to take him to an Outback Steakhouse so he can get the real American version of Australia.
We're going to Outback Steakhouse, and we're going to have ourselves some blooming onions, and I'm going to get to see what an actual Australian thinks of what Outback Steakhouse is.
I'm telling you, like this is podcast content. Like you have to bring a mobile recorder with you and just review everything. Really let him sit down and be like, let me tell you about what's wrong with all of this, So
we might do that. I might just go ahead and set up the phone and just record the entire experience.
I would, if I was going to go do this with him, I would say, this is how we should go do it. That could be like a thing. We just bring in international Ghostbusters fans into the US for like hanging out. But then there's a bonus episode of just, we're going to go take you to like the Tilted Kilt Eatery because you're from Scotland. And see what you think of this nonsense, this hyper real simulation of whatever your culture is, according to a brand manager who sells or buys in bulk frozen food and sends it out via truck. Yeah. That's how chain restaurants work, everybody, right? So anyway,
Sure.
we didn't come to talk about chain restaurants, though. We came to talk about Ghostbusters as usual. And we're going to talk about, your latest toy release, because your latest toy release is just one of the most fun things you've put out without question. We're talking a bit about
thanks,
your
man.
Moogs, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And I wanted to just kind of talk to you a bit about what you feel about Toy Fair as somebody who makes toys and who gets excited about them, because Toy Fair is coming at the end of the month. So we got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. And even though it's not the stuff we were going to talk about with Brendan, but did he bring you Tim Tams? Because he said he was going to bring those too.
I also brought Tim Tams, which completely make up for the Vegemite experience. Tim Tams are amazing. If anybody ever gets their chance to grab a package of Tim Tam biscuits, I highly recommend it. They are amazing. But if the Vegemite, just be prepared.
I love that I got to talk to him while he was packing up these items to bring them to you, and now I've seen them arrive. I feel like I was part of this in some way. I wasn't at all, but
you're always a part of things, Jim.
I'm vicariously experiencing someone else traveling really far and being jet lagged, so you could eat weird spreads and delicious biscuits, but not together, hopefully. So
actually, yeah, they were kind of in tandem. So the Tim Tams took the Vegemite flavor out of my mouth. So
that's awesome. Well, at least you were rescued. You had a delicious biscuit rescue from your terrible experience, or not terrible. It was just an experience. It was just, you can call it terrible if you want.
It was terrible.
All right.
But it's been great having him here. And there's a lot of things that we've made in the past that he hasn't even seen in person. He's been a big part of the design and the ideas and everything that's gone into the figure, but he's never actually held it in his hands before. So yesterday when he first arrived, was one of the first things he wanted to do was check out the stuff we've made. He hasn't been able to see yet. So
it's so crazy
seeing him actually holding it in his hands it's been awesome.
It's so crazy how many things he's designed, but because you've been so far apart that he's never actually had the stuff in his hands. And I know he's got a giant pile of stuff at your house. And I was just thinking about this as you said this, that we've talked about this, he's talked about it, you've talked about it, that he finally got to see his HasLab Proton Pack.
Yeah, he did. Because shipping is so expensive when they were available, getting one to Australia was kind of crazy. So yeah, I've been sitting on his completely 100%. I swear to you, unopened, untouched HasLab Proton Packs I've been storing for him, and he finally got to meet his HasLabs.
If this much awesome happened to me within 24 hours of landing from a 14-hour flight with then a changeover to another 4-hour flight, I probably also would be nauseous because of just the awesomeness of all those things happening. So maybe Brendan is just excitement sick. I don't know. I'm kidding. I know he's really sick.
I think I hope he feels better. It's jet lag and it's a lot of things. It's a little overwhelming, and I don't blame him either. He needs to get better so we can actually get down and actually do some fun things that aren't in my basement.
Yeah. Although you do have a containment unit in your basement, so it's kind of hard to not have fun in your basement. You could really have a lot of fun in your basement, to be fair.
There's a lot of things you can do with the containment unit. Let me tell you.
A lot of 3D printers. You could, you could invent new weapons, print them, and then use them to have weird downstairs basement toy fights. Not that I'm giving you any ideas, but that would be weird though if you had a overnight weekend event. It was night 1 is design, night 2 is fab, night 3 we fight.
That sounds like a good show. That could be a show.
That's mine.
Let's
Anybody
get together
who just
and
heard
pitch it to Discovery.
Yeah, that's mine. No one else. We're gonna get Adam Savage involved. He's gonna be the judge and the host.
Yes.
He's you're gonna see him soon. Bring him this.
Yes. That is one thing on our agenda. He's going to be in Cincinnati at the Cincinatti Comic Expo, and we've got tickets. Well, we got more than just tickets, but we got our photo op booked with him, and we are definitely going to meet Adam Savage here in a week and a half or so.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute, since it just kind of came up. So, what are you going to be doing at, Cincinnati Comic Expo?
Cincinnati Comic Expo is coming up. I believe it is September. I want to say September 22nd. I think it starts in Cincinnati, Ohio. And we actually have ourselves a booth reserved. And it's going to be our first real convention by ourselves as Phantasm Toys. We're going to be there set up. We're going to have been working hard on having a bunch of fun stuff available there. And we're going to also have a bunch of the classic Beducci Studios prints for sale that we're going to have. And we're going to be there for the full 3 days and just waiting on our actual booth number to come in, which should be very soon. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be our first convention solo as Phantasm Toys.
That's awesome. And so like, you're going to be able to actually interface with folks and stuff. And I know that like in the past, you've had an opportunity to kind of be at other cons, like as a guest of other folks, like, but in this context,
we did.
Like you get to go and have your own show, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is going to be fun.
Well, I think that's great that you guys are going to have an opportunity to get out there and, kind of show off what you do in a bigger venue and in your own space to do it for a little while, for a few days. And you have 3 days, so you can each invent an object, produce the object on site, and then fight in a convention environment. That's
what we're excited about, being able to be not just like a thing on the internet and being able to engage with people and have a lot of stuff to show off. And yeah, it's going to be, hopefully it's going to be a real good time.
I mean, can't imagine it's not going to be. Like, there's some pretty good guests going to that con. Like I said this to you, that I was like, I wonder if I could go to that just because it would be fun to come out and see you all. And then I was like, oh man, John Delancey's going to be at that. He's cute from Star Trek. I could be cute.
Yeah, there's a lot of big names. There's a lot of big names that are going to be there. Christina Ricci was going to be there, but unfortunately she backed out. We were really looking forward to potentially getting my Casper VHS signed by her. That was a plan, but unfortunately she's not going to be there. But yeah, we're going to have fun. It's going to be, we'll have a lot of stuff to show off. I think we're going to be bringing back some past releases to have available on hand while we're at the convention. So there'll be some Terror Tubs. There'll be some Library Ladies. There'll be some, what else I make? We're going to have some slime balls and some past creepers and stuff we're bringing back to have on display, plus a couple other surprises. So yeah, we're really looking forward to it. We've been working hard.
No, I think that's great. I also am very intrigued by the idea that you were thinking that you would meet Christina Ricci and that the thing you would have signed was a Casper item. Tell me more about this. I'm intrigued. I'm like, most people have been like, I have an Addams Family. This is totally derailed, totally unplanned. Like, people are like, did you guys plan to talk about Christina Ricci and Casper? No, of course not. This just is, I have to know this, because for me, I'm like, if you're going to meet her and you were going to take something from like that era, I would go, oh, you got to bring the Wednesday Addams item. But, oh, I just got dark in here.
Whoa.
But for
spooky.
You, it did. Like the lights just went off in here and it got spooky. That must be because of what we're talking about. But for you, that's a Casper item. Tell me more about this. Why?
Because Dan Aykroyd's in it as a Ghostbuster. That's why. Is there any other reason?
So for you, that's what I wanted to get at. Are you a person then who in that moment, are you going there and are you collecting and getting an autograph for a general autograph collection that includes Christina Ricci, or is this part of your Ghostbusters autograph collection that somehow is like, you were in a movie that tangentially had a Ghostbuster in it?
That's the exact word I was thinking of.
And therefore I need this autograph.
Yes. The second thing. It will be displayed proudly amongst my Ghostbuster items. But honestly, I love that movie. I really do. I think the ghost designs in it are super fun. And
yeah,
I mean, the fact that Dan Aykroyd's in it with a mustache and a proton pack. Yeah. The fact that that's just an added bonus. I really am a huge fan of that movie. But a big reason why we're going, or another thing that we're excited, is Adam Savage too. He really is a big inspiration with the way he does his own workshop and his cave, and all the stuff that he does by himself is a huge inspiration, at least just to me personally, with the way he does things, and helped me kind of start doing what I'm doing. And it's going to be exciting to meet him personally for the first time, hopefully, and might have a gift for him too. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I will say I also enjoy Casper. It was a movie that I can remember really having an affinity for when it came out. I did watch it more recently. and I was like, I don't know if this movie holds up. I was just like, this movie has some strange moments in it that really make me uncomfortable about how the characters interacted with each other in this movie. It's very odd at points. But
all the best movies have those moments eventually.
But the ghost, well, hey, even Venkman has to carry Thorazine apparently. But I think you're right. The ghost designs in that movie are really fun. There's like some really
they're
great,
super
like,
fun. And they look cool. They still look all right. I think the special effects still hold up pretty much.
There was that movie that came out. We Have a Ghost. It was on Netflix a while back.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. That to me reminded me of like an updated kind of Casper. Like he's a friendly ghost who lives in the house with them and they're trying to figure out how to get him to move on and do it and scare other people away kind of thing. And I was like, this has very deep, like kind of Casper reboot vibes to it that I thought was okay. I was like, I'm not angry at it for that. It kind of takes that story and updates it in a cute way. So if you've never seen that, by the way, folks, you've never seen We Have a Ghost, totally check that out. If you've never seen Casper, there's something really wrong with you because you listen to this podcast, and that means you're required to have seen every utterance of an official, like screen authorized proton pack ever. And if you don't know that Dan Aykroyd was in Casper, that he was playing Ray Stantz, then you're fired. You need to go.
Greatest go watch cameo in film history.
I'm not sure I agree with that sentiment, but it is fun.
It's one of my personal favorites. Who are you going to call? Somebody else.
Somebody else. I do think it's cool though that you may also meet Adam Savage, and I hope you get to have like a moment of kind of exchanging a gift with him because I think he's inspired a lot of people. And I think that what's interesting about him is how much he geeks out about Ghostbusters stuff.
Yeah.
You can watch his videos all the time and he talks about different stuff every week. He's always fascinating and like has lots to say on different stuff. But when you see him talk about Ghostbusters, he becomes like one of us. He like lights up like a Christmas tree and gets very like, oh my God, that's so cool. And one of my favorite videos of his is the one they did about the field of traps. When they did the like, hey, here's how we're setting up this field of 198 traps in a matrix. And that's like the most detailed video we've ever seen of the trap field. So you should see what else you can find out from him about
his behind the scenes, his afterlife behind the scenes stuff where he got to visit the set and show off all that stuff and Egon's truck, the Shandor mine truck with the Ivan built and the field of traps, like you said, and Egon's farmhouse. All his behind the scenes videos are amazing. So,
but it's also funny because like he's done a HasLab customization video. Like how many people in the fandom have been like, here's how I customized my HasLab pack. I got the yellow nylon. I got this. And they make their little video of it. And then like over on Tested, Adam Savage was like, what should I do this week? I know. I'll update my HasLab pack.
Like just like Casper with the Christina Ricci thing and it just being, an added bonus that it's got the Ghostbuster cameo with Adam Savage. I was already a fan and it's just a huge added bonus that he's also a big, huge Ghostbuster fan like us. So I'm excited to meet him.
That's cool. He's on my list of people who I would love to like just sit down and talk with for 15 minutes of my life and just be like, you're a very interesting human being. And even though I'm not much of a physical maker these days, like, I'm certainly inspired and motivated by sort of the energy he brings towards creative process. Like I don't have a workshop full of mold making, but I have a podcast that's different, but I have a lot of admiration for the stuff he's worked on and done. And one time I actually got to go to a Discovery Shark Week. I just remembered that just out of nowhere. When I first moved here, like there was a Shark Week thing that happened in Ventura where they like brought out a shark and like tried to blow it up or something on the beach. And I was like in the crowd of that. I just totally forgot about that until we just talked about it.
So, were they trying to debunk some Jaws myths or whatever? Like testing what
shark,
would happen if you actually put a...
myths.
Oh, even more fun, I guess.
Yeah. There was like a ginormous like fake shark on the beach and Carrie and what is it? Grant Imahara was that the other person who was like part of the build team or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
They were all there, but yeah, random things I just remembered that happened in my life. Everyone, that's why we come to Extraplasm podcast for the excess pieces of memories from my brain that I forget about until someone references something, and then
I'm having a hard time
database nonsense.
I'm having a hard time remembering things. I think that Vegemite is like permanently adhered in my brain somewhere and is like blocking all my.
No, it's because he brought you drop bear rabies from Australia, and that's because he was fighting drop bears in Australia. You do know about the drop bears, don't you?
Yes, I know what you're talking about. I don't think it's real though. Isn't it like it's a made up myth? The bears aren't really dropping out of the.
Unless you ask him, see what he tells you, and you have a far better expert there to tell you whether or not drop bears are real. But my understanding of drop bears is that they are a vicious form of koala that drops from the trees. And apparently, even though koalas just eat eucalyptus all day and be lazy, there's a version of them that just drops from the trees and murders people and then climbs back up in the trees. So you can decide whether that's real or fake. But hey. All I'm saying is that, like, maybe that's your next figure. Maybe just
drop bears. We have a lot of ideas. There's a lot of stuff that because we knew that he was going to be coming for a short period of time. And so he wouldn't be able to be doing any sculpting or really be doing anything like that. So before he came over, we hashed out a lot of things and worked really, really hard on a lot of stuff. So we got a lot of stuff just about ready to go. We're excited about.
Nice. So he just gets to come and hang out and experience America and toilets that go in a different direction than his own.
Yeah. He's still blown away by that.
I mean, if I went there, I imagine I'd be blown away by that. It's crazy to be like, oh, that's actual evidence of how your planet works. It's not every day that you encounter that, like the new fundamental confirming facts about how your planet operates. It rotates and it's on an axis and it does stuff depending upon the hemisphere you're in.